The deception. The concordate chamber was a marvel of impossible architecture. Suspended within a quantum probability field, the massive spherical room hosted representatives from the 27 most advanced civilizations in the known galaxy. Holographic displays shimmered like living crystals, translating thousands of alien languages simultaneously. Captain Maya Reeves stood with perfect military posture, her midnight blue Earth diplomatic corps uniform a stark contrast to the exotic, biological and mechanical forms surrounding her. At 38, Maya was considered young for her position, but humanity had always been impatient with traditional timelines. The human contingent will now present their petition for expanded colonization rights, announced the chamber moderator, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline vessel. Maya stepped forward, her neural interface humming quietly. The device was a testament to human innovation, allowing her mind to process information at speeds that rivaled the most advanced quantum computers. What the alien delegates didn't know was that it was also scanning every frequency, every minute, biological reaction, building comprehensive psychological profiles of each council member in real time. Esteemed representatives of the Concordate, Maya began, her voice clear and commanding. For 50 years, humanity has honored every treaty, respected every boundary, and contributed technological and cultural advancements that have benefited the galactic community. A series of holographic displays appeared behind her, showing human medical breakthroughs that had saved billions of alien lives, terraforming techniques that had restored dead worlds, and quantum communication innovations that had revolutionized interstellar commerce. We now seek permission to expand our colonization efforts into the Cygnus Arm, as per the mutual development agreements established in the Rigel Accords. The Xylorian ambassador shifted his massive insectoid form, mandibles clicking in a pattern that Maya's neural interface immediately recognized as agitation. The human expansion rate exceeds all projected models, Captain Reeves. Your species has established more colonies in 5 decades than most achieve in 5 centuries. Maya smiled, diplomatically. Adaptation is our greatest strength, Ambassador. Humanity thrives at the edge of possibility. What she didn't say, what Earth Command had specifically instructed her not to reveal, was that humanity's rapid expansion was driven by a deep-seated understanding of their precarious position within the Concordate. They were newcomers, upstarts, and historically the Concordate had a pattern of containing species that developed too quickly. The chamber dimmed as the representatives began their deliberation. Maya stood motionless, but her neural interface worked overtime, parsing the encrypted communications flying between delegates. Their security was impressive, but human quantum decryption had advanced beyond anything the Concordate suspected. That's when she caught it. A fragmented transmission between the Xylorian ambassador and the Moldavi representative, a discussion not about her petition, but about Phase 1 containment protocols. Maya maintained her diplomatic smile while her heart raced. The neural interface continued decoding. Resource interdiction, technology restrictions, strategic isolation of key human worlds. This wasn't a deliberation. It was the implementation of a plan already in motion. The Concordate has reached a decision, announced the chamber moderator. The human petition for expansion rights is granted, with conditions to be determined by the regulatory committee. Maya bowed respectfully. Humanity thanks the Concordate for its wisdom and consideration. Every word was ash in her mouth. 12. Hours later, Maya's stealth shuttle broke from its designated flight path. Earth Command needed to know what she had discovered, and official channels were too risky. The neural interface had compiled everything, not just the fragmented transmission, but patterns of communication dating back years. The Concordate had been planning humanity's containment since their first contact. The expansion rights they just granted were a facade, leading human colonies into positions where they could be easily isolated and controlled. Maya's shuttle entered Earth's atmosphere under communication blackout, landing at a remote Arctic facility rather than the Washington Diplomatic Center. Admiral Chen was waiting, her weathered face grim in the harsh light of the underground facility. Your emergency code set off every alarm we have, Captain. This better be important. Maya initiated a direct neural transfer, sending everything she had discovered directly to the secure systems. The Concordat has been lying to us from the beginning. Admiral, they've authorized our expansion into the Cygnus arm as part of a containment strategy. The data appeared on massive screens surrounding them: intercepted communications, resource allocation patterns, fleet movements that had seemed random but now formed a clear strategy of encirclement. They're afraid of us, Maya continued. Our rate of technological advancement, our adaptability, our potential to surpass them, it terrifies them. So they're going to strangle us slowly, strategically. Admiral Chen studied the data, her expression hardening. How long do we have? Implementation has already begun. The resource restrictions will start within days, disguised as regulatory adjustments. Within 6 months, our colonies will begin experiencing critical shortages. The Admiral pressed a secure communication panel. Assemble the Defense Council immediately. Protocol Omega authorization. Maya felt a chill. Protocol Omega was theoretical, a contingency plan so extreme that most considered it unthinkable. Admiral, are you certain? Chen's eyes were steel. For 3 generations we suspected this might happen. That's why we never revealed our true capabilities. That's why the Sentinel program remained Black-level classified. That's why Project Ascension continued, despite the ethical concerns. The BI room's massive doors slid open as members of Earth's Defense Council entered, the 12 individuals who collectively held the fate of humanity in their hands. The Concordat has made their move, Admiral Chen announced without preamble. Captain Reeves has confirmed our worst suspicions. We now activate Protocol Omega. General Santos, head of Colonial Defense, leaned forward. The colonies aren't ready. The outer settlements have minimal defenses. They don't need defenses, replied Dr. Imani Washington, Director of Advanced Research. They need transformation. She activated a secure display, showing schematics that made Maya's breath catch. Every colony, every outpost, every ship we've built in the last 30 years contains dormant systems. Nanotechnology that can completely rebuild our infrastructure from the molecular level up. The adaptive mesh network, Maya whispered finally, understanding the strange energy signatures she'd detected throughout human territories. Precisely, Dr. Washington nodded. Once activated, our colonies don't just defend themselves, they evolve. Manufacturing centers become ship factories. Research stations transform into weapons platforms. Agricultural domes develop self-sustaining systems immune to blockades. Admiral Chen turned to Maya. The Concordat thinks they're containing a typical spacefaring species. They don't realize that humanity stopped being typical the moment we suspected their true nature. The Defense Council voted unanimously. Protocol Omega was initiated. Maya watched as commands flashed across communication networks, encrypted, signals that would reach every human outpost within hours. The dormant systems would activate. The hidden fleets would emerge from their dimensional pockets. The true nature of human technological advancement would finally be revealed. What happens when the Concordat realizes what we've done? Maya asked quietly. Admiral Chen's smile was cold as the Arctic winds outside. Then we deliver our message, the only warning they'll receive. And what message is that? Asked Maya. Run. The transformation began silently. On New Terra, the largest human colony in the Arcturus system, Governor Eliza Kagami received the encrypted Protocol Omega transmission while having her morning coffee. Her neural interface immediately verified the authentication codes, and for a moment she sat in perfect stillness, absorbing the implications. Then she activated her colony-wide administrative access. Initiate Chrysalis Protocol, she commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of what she was setting in motion. Throughout New Terra, microscopic changes began. Nanite systems that had been dormant since the colony's foundation activated, beginning molecular reconstruction of key infrastructure. Agricultural domes that had appeared to be simple food production centers revealed hidden layers of technology, transforming into self-sustaining biospheres capable of supporting the colony indefinitely. Defense platforms that the Concordat's surveillance had classified as minimal shed their disguising fields, revealing weapon systems generations beyond what humanity had officially demonstrated. Most importantly, the colony's central manufacturing hub, ostensibly producing agricultural equipment and basic electronics, began a metamorphosis. Massive factory floors reconfigured, revealing quantum fabrication systems capable of producing technologies that would seem like magic to most concordate species. Similar transformations occurred across every human settlement, from Earth itself to the smallest research outpost. Protocol Omega wasn't just a defensive measure, it was the unveiling of humanity's true face. In orbit around Jupiter, the massive shipyards that had been producing standard interstellar vessels opened hidden, bays where the real fleet waited, ships built with technologies humanity had kept secret for generations. On Mars, research centers developing theoretical physics applications suddenly implemented those theories, creating weapons, defense systems, and propulsion technologies that defied conventional understanding of physical laws. Throughout human space, the message from Earth Command was the same: prepare, transform, evolve. The Concordat had planned to strangle humanity slowly. They would discover too late that they had been trying to hold back an ocean with their bare hands. Maya stood on the EO observation deck of the EDS Defiance, Earth's first Transcendence-class vessel. The ship had never appeared in any registry, never been reported to the Concordat, never officially existed. Yet here it was, a testament to human ingenuity and foresight. Magnificent, isn't she? Admiral Chen joined her at the viewport. Dimensional, slip drives, quantum-entangled communication arrays immune to interception, adaptive hull technology that can respond to any weapon currently known. How long have we been hiding this? Maya asked, still processing the scale of the deception humanity had maintained. Since first contact, Chen replied simply. The moment we understood the true nature of galactic politics, we began preparing for this day. Every technological advance we shared with the Concordat was carefully chosen, impressive enough to gain us acceptance, but never revealing our true capabilities. Maya turned to face the Admiral. And now? Now we give them a choice. Chen's expression was grim but resolved. The Concordat planned to contain us, to limit what humanity could become. We're going to show them why that was never possible. Throughout human space, the transformation continued. The adaptive mesh networks linking every colony, every ship, every outpost grew stronger, creating a unified system that learned and evolved with each passing second. The Concordat had made a fundamental miscalculation. They saw humanity as a threat to be managed. They failed to understand that humanity had evolved beyond management the moment the first starship left Earth's atmosphere. Maya took a deep breath, understanding her role in what would come next. When do we deliver our message? Admiral Chen checked the secure timeline displayed on her neural interface. The Concordat just implemented the first stage of their containment strategy. Resource ships bound for our outer colonies have been delayed for inspection. They believe we'll be desperate for those resources within weeks. She smiled coldly. Let them keep believing that for exactly 3 more days. Then you, Captain. Reeves will return to the Concordat chamber with humanity's response. Maya nodded, feeling the weight of history pressing down upon her shoulders. In 3 days, the galaxy would change forever. The Concordat had decided that humanity needed to be contained. Humanity had decided otherwise, and soon they would issue their one and only warning: run. The ultimatum, the Concordat's first strike, came exactly as Maya had predicted. On the frontier colony of Proxima Delphi, supply ships suddenly found themselves rerouted, their precious cargoes temporarily held for security inspections that would never be completed. Simultaneously, communication relays experienced technical difficulties, isolating the colony from the rest of human space. It was a masterful strategy, or would have been, against any other species. Governor Tomas Rivera stood in Proxima Delphi's control center, watching as the colony's transformation unfolded. What had been a vulnerable outpost dependent on regular supply lines just days before was rapidly becoming a self-sufficient fortress. Nanofabrication system at 87% conversion, reported his chief engineer. Agricultural domes now producing at 300% capacity and rising. Defense grid online and fully operational. Rivera nodded, a grim smile on his weathered face. And our visitors? The tactical officer gestured to a holographic display showing 3 Concordat vessels, maintaining position just outside the colony's orbit. Still watching, sir. Their sensors are working overtime trying to understand what's happening. Let them watch, Rivera replied. It's time they learned what happens when you corner humanity. Similar scenes played out across human space as the Concordat's containment strategy collided with Protocol Omega. Resource blockades failed as colonies revealed hidden stockpiles and molecular manufacturing capabilities. Communication blackouts proved useless against quantum-entangled networks that couldn't be intercepted or disrupted. The Concordat had planned for a gradual strangulation campaign lasting months or years. Instead, within 72 hours, they faced a transformed human presence, one that was not just surviving their carefully orchestrated pressure but thriving. In the Washington Command Center, Admiral Chen monitored the unfolding situation, her neural interface processing thousands of updates per second. The Concordat is scrambling, reported General Santos. Their containment fleets are requesting reinforcements and emergency sessions have been called in 6 different governance chambers. And our preparations? Chen asked. The adaptive mesh network is fully operational. Every colony, every outpost, every ship is now part of the unified system. The dimensional pocket fleets are in position, ready to emerge on command. Chen turned to Dr. Washington. And Project Ascension? The scientist hesitated just for a moment. Ready, Admiral. Though I must once again register my concerns about... Noted. Chen interrupted. Let's hope we never need to activate it. She turned to Maya, who stood quietly observing the command center's organized chaos. Captain Reeves, it's time for you to deliver our message. The EDS Defiance dropped out of dimensional slipspace directly above the Concordat central world. A maneuver that should have been impossible according to the physics the Concordat understood. Alarms immediately sounded throughout the massive space station that housed the chamber and its supporting infrastructure. Maya stood on the bridge, now, dressed not in diplomatic blues but in the black and silver of Earth's defense force. Open a channel to the chamber moderator, she ordered. The Concordat's response was predictable. Defensive systems activated, and a flotilla of security vessels moved to intercept the Defiance. They're scanning us, reported the tactical officer. Their sensors can't penetrate our adaptive hull. Maya nodded. Let them try. Maintain position and continue broadcasting our request for audience. On the massive view screen, she watched as more Concordat ships arrived, surrounding the Defiance in a display of force meant to intimidate. It was almost amusing, like children brandishing sticks at a storm. Captain, the communications officer called. We're receiving a response from the chamber moderator. The view screen shifted to show the crystalline vessel containing the energy being that served as the Concordat's primary facilitator. Captain Reeves, it acknowledged, its tone conveying surprise and concern. Your vessel's presence here violates 17 different Concordat protocols. You are ordered to power down and prepare for boarding. Maya smiled coldly. I come as an emissary of Earth, bearing a message for the full Concordat assembly. I request an immediate audience. Your request is denied. Power down your vessel immediately or... I wasn't asking permission, Maya interrupted. Earth has discovered the Concordat's containment strategy against humanity. I am here to deliver our formal response. You have 30 minutes to assemble the representatives, or we will demonstrate why that would be unwise. The moderator's energy form pulsed with what Maya's neural interface identified as agitation and fear. Your threats are noted, Captain, but the Concordat does not respond to... Maya cut the transmission with a gesture. Begin the countdown, she ordered. 28 minutes later, the Defiance received confirmation that an emergency session of the Concordat had been convened. The chamber looked different from Maya's last visit. The holographic interfaces pulsed with urgent communications, and the representatives' body language, those that had bodies, displayed clear signs of stress and alarm. Maya stepped forward, alone and unarmed, into the center of the chamber. Her neural interface was operating at maximum capacity, recording every reaction, every micro-expression, building a real-time assessment of the Concordate's psychological state. 3 days ago, she began without preamble, the Concordate implemented the first phase of a containment strategy against humanity. Resource restrictions, communication disruptions, diplomatic isolation, all carefully orchestrated to limit human expansion and potential. The chamber erupted in protests and denials. Maya waited, standing perfectly still until the noise subsided. "We know," she continued. "We have known your intentions since our first contact. Every move you've made, every treaty you've offered, every opportunity you've presented, we understood the truth behind them all." She activated a holographic display showing the true extent of human space, not just the colonies and outposts officially registered with the Concordate, but the hidden installations, the dimensional pocket fleets, the technologies developed in secret. For 50 years, humanity has shown you only what we wanted you to see. You believed you were dealing with an emerging spacefaring species, one that could be guided and controlled through conventional means. Maya's voice hardened. "You were wrong." The Xylorian ambassador's mandibles clicked rapidly. "These accusations are baseless. The Concordate has always treated humanity as a valued member of the galactic community." "Save your lies," Maya cut him off. "I personally intercepted your communications regarding Phase 1 containment. The resource interdictions against our frontier colonies began exactly as scheduled." She stepped closer to the center of the chamber. "But that's not why I'm here. I'm here to deliver humanity's response to your betrayal." With a neural command, Maya activated the next phase of her presentation. The holographic display shifted to show real-time feeds from human colonies throughout Concordate space. Colonies that were no longer vulnerable outposts, but transformed centers of power. Manufacturing complexes producing technologies the Concordate had never seen. Defense systems that defied conventional understanding. Agricultural facilities that had evolved beyond any possibility of blockade. "Protocol Omega," she explained. "Our contingency plan prepared over 3 generations, designed for precisely this moment. While you plotted to contain us, we prepared to transcend your limitations." The chamber had fallen completely silent now, the representatives watching, in growing horror as the true extent of human capabilities became clear. "But this is merely the beginning," Maya continued. "A demonstration of what happens when you try to cage something that cannot be caged." With another neural command, she activated the final display, showing the dimensional pocket fleets emerging throughout Concordate space. Massive vessels unlike anything the Concordate had ever encountered, utilizing technologies that most representatives couldn't even comprehend. "Earth has authorized me to deliver this message, the only warning you will receive." Maya's voice rang through the chamber, each word measured and precise. "Humanity will not be contained. We will not be limited. We will not be controlled." She paused, letting the implications settle over the assembled representatives. "You have a choice. Acknowledge humanity as equals, abandon all containment strategies, and enter a new era of genuine cooperation, or face extinction." The Moldavi, representative, a being of liquid crystal intelligence, rose from its containment pool. "This is madness. You threaten the most powerful collective in known space with extinction? The combined might of the Concordate could reduce Earth to ash." "Could it?" Maya interrupted. "Are you certain?" With a final neural command, she activated the demonstration that Admiral Chen had authorized. A small but unmistakable example of what Project Ascension could unleash. In orbit around an uninhabited moon in a nearby system, a single human vessel activated a technology that the Concordate had believed impossible. Space itself seemed to shudder as fundamental forces were momentarily rewritten. The moon, a celestial body thousands of kilometers in diameter, simply ceased to exist, converted in an instant to pure energy, and then contained. The chamber erupted in chaos as representatives witnessed powers that defied their understanding of physical law. "Let me be clear," Maya's voice cut through the panic. "This is not a negotiation. This is not a threat. This is simply information you need to make an informed decision. She stood tall, her expression unflinching. For generations, the Concordat has manipulated emerging species, limiting their potential, ensuring they never challenged your dominance. That era ends today. Maya stepped back, preparing to return to the Defiance. You have 24 hours to communicate your decision to Earth Command. Choose wisely. The emergency session of the Concordat continued long after Maya's departure. The representatives, for the first time in the organization's history, faced an existential crisis with no clear solution. We cannot submit to human demands, the Xylorian ambassador insisted, his massive form vibrating with agitation. It would undermine the very foundation of Concordat authority. And what authority will remain if we are extinct? Countered the Tellurian delegation, their collective consciousness processing the situation far more pragmatically. The humans have demonstrated capabilities beyond our combined defensive measures. The chamber moderator attempted to maintain order as factions formed and reformed, alliances shifted, and ancient rivalries were temporarily set aside in the face of a common threat. We must consider, offered the Arvanian speaker, her crystalline, body-refracting light in patterns that indicated deep thought, that perhaps our approach to emerging species has been fundamentally flawed. The humans identified our containment strategy immediately and prepared accordingly. The debate raged for hours, but as the deadline approached, a grim consensus emerged. The Concordat, for all its age and power, had miscalculated catastrophically. They had attempted to apply traditional containment measures to a species that defied traditional understanding. Aboard the Defiance, Maya received the Concordat's response with Admiral Chen on secure quantum link. They've agreed to all terms, Maya reported, reading through the formal communication. Full recognition of human sovereignty, abandonment of all containment measures, and establishment of a new cooperative framework. Chen's expression remained guarded. And the verification, protocols, accepted without modification. They've even agreed to the establishment of human oversight committees in key Concordat governance structures. Maya looked up from the document. They're terrified, Admiral. Good, Chen replied simply. Fear is a powerful motivator for change. Maya frowned slightly. Was it necessary to reveal Project Ascension? That technology was our last resort option. It was necessary to demonstrate that our warning wasn't empty rhetoric. Chen's expression softened slightly. What we showed them was a carefully controlled application, a fraction of the system's true capabilities. And if they had chosen differently, if they had decided to fight, Chen was silent for a long moment. Then humanity would have secured its future by any means necessary. She straightened, her military bearing returning. But they chose wisely. Now we begin the difficult work of building something new. 6 months later, Maya stood in the reformed Concordat chamber, now called the Galactic Assembly, watching as representatives from 28 civilizations, including humanity, signed the new Galactic Charter. The document enshrined principles that would have been unthinkable under the old regime. Technological sharing rather than suppression, collaborative development rather than competitive containment, mutual defense rather than hierarchical control. It was not perfect. Centuries of mistrust and manipulation could not be erased in months. Some Concordat species remained resentful of humanity's ultimatum, viewing the new order as submission rather than cooperation. But it was a beginning. Maya's neural interface captured the historic moment as Earth's representative, Admiral Chen herself, signed the charter with a flourish. The adaptive mesh network transmitted the image instantly to every human settlement throughout explored space, a testament to what humanity had achieved through vigilance, preparation, and the absolute refusal to be contained. Later, in a private chamber away from the diplomatic celebrations, Maya met with Chen one last time before the Admiral returned to Earth. Was it worth it? Maya asked quietly. The deception, the resources poured into Protocol Omega, the constant vigilance? Chen looked out at the stars visible through the chamber's viewport. Ask me in 100 years, she replied. If the galaxy, is a place where civilizations rise together rather than at each other's expense, then yes, it will have been worth it. She turned to Maya with unexpected intensity. Remember this, Captain. Humanity's greatest strength has never been our technology or our adaptability. It's our vision, our ability to imagine better futures and then bring them into being through sheer force of will. Maya nodded, understanding, at last, the true purpose of their warning to the Concordat. It hadn't been about domination or revenge. It had been about creation, forcing a stagnant galaxy to evolve just as humanity had evolved. The warning had been simple. Run. Not away from humanity, but toward a future that required courage to reach. The Concordat had chosen to run in the right direction. Now the real journey could begin.